Hi, welcome to Smack's online video tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to talk more in detail on the design tool, and we're going to look at the menu bar today. Very interesting part of your site, very important part is the main navigation, and with this software you can do anything you like to the navigation bar. Simply show you the navigation bar. So this is our navigation bar. This white bar here is where we navigate our site. Bring us down to a smaller view, and there's our navigation bar. Bring us back again. So let's have a play with the navigation bar. We're going to completely change the whole thing. So as in all these tutorials, really good idea is create a snapshot. So and then we're going to go restore. I'm going to add a note before nav experiments. Close that down. Right, so let's start having a play. So the menu is here. So what we'll do is we'll lock all these apart from the menu. I want to show you how we can move the menu around without affecting anything else as well. So here's our menu. We can see that in this area. The menu bar doesn't need to go right over to the side here. The system knows that it's going to have to be full width or in a containment area. So let's have a look at the page. So at the moment we've set it for customization settings, but I'm going to turn that off. So this now is set up to factory defaults. So it's going to be basic. There's your basic. That's as basic as the navigation bar gets. Got a blue and we've got white. So if we didn't use our custom navigation bar, this is what your site is going to look like. So we prefer to use our settings on this. They're quite basic. So we look at the moment and we've got a few areas on here. We've got the background color, we've got the rollover colors, we've got the font, we've got a shadow in the text area, we've got our positioning, we've got underline for rollover, and we've got the quick search, and then in here we've got room for a logo in the navigation bar. So rather than having the logo in the banner, we can upload and display in the navigation bar. That's sometimes quite nice if you haven't got a banner. So we upload an image in here and we can set the logo size, or we can have an icon in here. So let's look at this area first. This area we will concentrate on first of all in this video. So first of all we're going to select an icon. So you can select hundreds of icons here, and this is your home page icon. So let's type in home, and this is what we want here. Okay, so we refresh and let's have a look at our site. So now we've got a home button. We didn't have that before. So now we're going to put this in place of this. So we've got the logo in here. Okay, so we go back to our menu, upload image, and we select this one. And let's have a look at that. So now we've got our home, we've got our logo in here. It's quite big, the logo, centered. It's quite nice, and we can keep it like that if we like, or we can reduce the size of the logo by 50%. We can alter the spacing up or down. Sometimes you might want to position it a bit better on the page, where you've got fine-tuning vertical spacing on there. So let's now go over to see what it looks like now. Let's have a look. Bit slow. Right, here we go. So now we can see the navigation bar is a lot smaller. There we go. So that's quite nice. Okay, let's jump back in here again. So let's look now at some other thing. So we can have vertical spacing. Let's have vertical spacing down 10. So let's have a look at that now, how that's going to affect the page. And now it's moved the logo down a little bit. It really depends on what logo you have. So we don't need to, I think the logo's quite nice on that. And we're just going to go for our basic home here. So we can delete that. And now select back our home again. Let's keep it nice and simple now for in here. Save and refresh. Okay, so that's all fine. So let's have a look now and see what our site looks like. We're back here. Okay, so let's have a look at some other really interesting points. Now, a menu bar, normally a menu bar will have a rollover color. So when you're selecting a item on the menu bar, you're going to want a different background to show that you're selecting that icon, that area. So we do that. This will be our background here. This is our rollover background. Yeah? So let's save that. Refresh. And now have a look at that. See, now we've got a rollover. So that's a rollover color. So in here we can have a rollover text as well. So we can have a blue text. We can also have transparency on the rollover as well. So we can have more of a transparent rollover now. It's not so obvious the difference. So look at that. See, it's transparent now. Transparent rollover. Okay, that's nice. So let's go in and explore a little bit more the rollovers. Okay, so what we've got the background. Let's put that back to white, and let's put that back to black. So there's no difference between the two. You don't know that you're using a rollover. They're both are the same. Save that. So that way there, so what we can do is to have an underline. Save that, underline color. Let's have a look now and see what happens now. Back into our main site again. And now we can see we've got an underline. Very modern to have an underline. Got here. So that's quite nice. So the way we've done that is simply to have underline in here, style, and we've got the same background on the rollover, so we've got no different. You could have a color as well if you wished. So let's take that off. And here's our underline color. So when you select underline, this will be the color of the underline. We could have had red, which would have been quite nice there. But let's look at some other items in this. So what we can do is we can have a preset color. We can have this as our we refresh on here and we see what the difference is now. So we got nice yellow bar now, but you can see the yellow bar is not so good on here. So this bar here is a bit of a gradient color, and that works really well if you don't have any sub menus. So if you've got some sub menus, it's not so good, but they come out really nice. I mean, you've got some lovely gradients in here that you could use. Look at that. What a nice little bezel. So really that's up to you as well. We'll take that. The other one we have is quite nice, is we've got, rather than colors gradients, we've got textures and patterns. So we could have a pattern on our top, on our navigation bar. We could have, just to show you how that works, we could have that as a pattern. And you can't upload patterns. You can only have the patterns that are preset, because really they're the ones that just are going to work the best. We've discovered over years. Now let's have a look at the patterns. Now we've got a pattern, and we've got our pattern in here as well, but we've got our rollover white. You could have that rollover black, but a very faint black. That might be quite nice. So let's have a look now at our menu again, and this time we're going to choose a light shadow. That's quite nice. And then we're going to have our background is going to be a little bit, actually we'll have a little, so we can see here we've got an opacity black to show you that we're rolling over. So let's have a look at that. So we've got metallic navigation bar that's going all the way along. So when we click on this, it's rebuilding the template. The internet's a little bit slow today on this. That. So that's quite nice. You've got a lovely gradient, and you've got a lovely gradient in here as well. So you can see we've got a shadow under the menu bar as well. Navigation bar shadow. Obviously you can change the font. So we're going to have a look at a different font. You've got all the fonts that we looked at before in another tutorial. So you've got hundreds and hundreds of fonts in here. This one, I quite like this one. Bebus. So we're rebuilding the site. Let's have a look now at our changes. There we go. Now we've got a different font in here. So the thing is, you could play with this for hours if you wanted. We can change the size of the font, make it a little bit smaller in relation to the window. So that might work a little bit better. Page on there. So let's go back into our menu again, and we'll put it back to the previous one, which is standard web fonts. I think it's, oh no, it's this one in here, popular. Sans. Okay, another thing we'll look at is the positioning of the menu bar. Let's have a look here. We've got the menu bar, and it's here. We want to move the menu bar up to the top here. So we can do that by clicking menu bar, top, sticky top. Sticky top means no matter where you scroll, no matter how you scroll the page, the menu bar will stay in the same place. So I'm scrolling the page now. But really, if you're going to do that, you want the menu at the top of the page, not in the middle of the page. So we have to move the menu bar up to the top here. That red line is the top of our page. Refresh that now. And now we've got the menu bar at the top. We could move the banner down now, you see, so the banner could come down. And the other thing we can look at, we've got sticky top and you've got top default. So if we go top default, then you'll see that the menu bar will actually move and move with the window. You can have that as well. We can have the menu bar fixed bottom, or fixed bottom just on the home page. So now the menu bar is at the bottom. If we've chose fixed bottom without being on the home page, it will just be for the home page on the bottom. There it is there. But as soon as we go to another page, that's sort of fixed bottom all the time. So that's there's certain setups that works really well. So what have we looked at? We've looked at the I think we've pretty much looked at everything there. A horizontal space is the separation of the links. We've got text shadow as well in the navigation bar as well. Just have a look at that. So fresh on here. That's also quite nice. But with the text shadow, you're going to have to play with that quite nicely. I think that was a bit too much of a gap in the shadow. If we had 1 pixel there, and just a tiny little bit of a, doesn't need to be too strong, the shadow, and then it just brings out there, brings out the links a little bit nicer. So that's quite nice. So we've played with that navigation bar. We've got a completely different navigation bar to the one we had, and you can play with it there. That's quite nice. So now it's completely changed the look of the site, but very, very quickly. Well, that was quite a long video, but the menu bar is really, really important because you can see there's so much that you can do with it, and every web page, every website that is produced, we're always using custom navigation settings because the default factory setting is very basic. So it's a bit longer, this video, but I think we've covered about everything in it, and thank you very much for watching.